Ika, Angelica, okay na sa'yo mo?
Okay na.
Okay, ready na. Sige na, start na.
May start na ako?
Sige na, intro na.
Good day everyone. Our report for today is all about the introduction to Spanish colonial influence. Spanish colonization in the Philippines, 1565 to 1898. Spanish colonization in the Philippines began in 1565 with the arrival of Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, who established the first permanent Spanish settlement in Cebu. The Philippines remained under Spanish rule for over 300 years, significantly shaping its society, culture, and governance. Ang Spanish colonization daw ay nagsimula noong 1565 kasama si Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. Yang gumawa si Miguel Lopez de Legazpi ng outpost o kampo sa Cebu, at ang Pilipinas daw ay na-maintain ang Spanish rule for over 300 years. The key impact of Spanish rule, really, we have 5: religion, education, government, and culture. Sa religion, Catholicism became the dominant religion, influencing Filipino tradition and values. Alam naman natin na ang Spanish ay nagpalaganap sa atin ng Katolisismo, kung sa ay yung Roman Catholic. Sa education naman, sa formal school and university were introduced, promoting literacy but mainly for elites. Sa education, nung sinakop tayo ng Spanish ay tig-introduce sa atin ng Spanish yung education. Ang example ng formal school is the elementary, high school, and colleges. Tapos, ang tinatawag ditong elites ay ito yung mga Kastila, mga Kastilang pinanganak dito sa Pilipinas, or tapos yung mga mayayaman. Tapos sa government naman, a centralized system replaced local barangay governance, introducing Spanish law and officials. Bago tayo sakupin ng mga Spanish ay ang mga namamahala or yung mga leader ng mga barangays ay yung mga dato or raha, ganon. Tapos nung sinakop tayo ng mga Spanish ay napalitan ang mga official na yon, ang pumalit yung mga Spanish. Tapos binago nila yung rules o yung mga law, ginawa nilang Spanish law, ganon. Tapos sa culture, Spanish influence is seen in Filipino language, food, festivals, and art. Ang Spanish naman ay na-influensyan tayo sa food, languages, festival, mga ganon. Tapos last discussion, how might colonial rules shape a country culture? Encourage student to consider both sides. Positive aspect, or ito yung mga advantage nung sinakop tayo ng mga Espanyol. Introduction of new systems such as education, governance, and trade. Cultural enrichment, including art, architecture, and religion. Exposure to global ideas through trades and literature. Nung sinakop tayo ng mga Spanish ay nga sabi ko kanina, i-introduce sila yung education, yung government, yung governance, binago nila yon. Tapos binigyan din tayo ng kung saan ting-influence nila tayo ng culture nila, yung religion nila, ganon, yung arts nila, ganon. Tapos ang negative aspect naman nito, next slide. Ang negative aspect or yung disadvantages ng pagsakop sa atin ng mga Spanish ay loss of indigenous tradition, languages, and systems of governance, social inequality in economic exploitation under colonial system, cultural identity altered or suppressed to favor colonial values. Nung sinakop tayo ng mga Spanish ay kung saan nakalimutan na or nawala na yung indigenous tradition ng mga indigenous people dito sa Philippines, yung mga language nila, tapos yung system of governance. Ayun nga sabi ko kanina, kagaya kanina yung sa barangay, yung kung saan yung mga dato pa yung mga namumuno. Nung dumating yung mga Spanish ay nabago yon. Tapos social inequality and economic exploitation. Nung sinakop tayo ay nagbago rin yung nagkaroon ng social inequalities. Meron tayong three classes, which is the lower class, middle class, and upper class. Ang lower class, ito yung mga Pilipino na slave, yung pinapagawa sila ng forced labor, ay yung mga ganun. Tapos yung mga middle class, ito yung mga ayun yung mga dating dato, yung mga mayayaman, ganon. Tapos ang upper class, ito yung mga Spanish official, basta mga Spanish siya. Tapos visual age, timeline of Spanish rule in the Philippines. 1565, ay nga sabi ko kanina, si Miguel Lopez ay dumating sa Cebu at gumawa ng kampo, yung outpost ng Spanish sa Cebu. Tapos in 1571, Manila is founded as capital of Spanish rule. Noong 1571 daw ay naging capital ng ang Manila ng Spanish rule. Tapos nung 1611, the University of Santo Tomas is established. Ginawa na yung University of Santo Tomas. Noong 1762 to 1764, British occupation of Manila during the Seven-Year War. Tapos 1896, the Philippine Revolution began, led by figure like Andres Bonifacio and Emilio Aguinaldo. Noong 1896 daw ay nagsimula na yung mag-rebelde yung mga Pilipino. Pinamunahan to ni Emilio Aguinaldo at Andres Bonifacio. Tapos nung 1898 ay natapos tayong yung pamuno ng Espanyol dito sa Pilipinas at pumalit ang United States. Ayan lamang at thank you po.
Spanish cultural heritage in the Philippines. Language and literature. Many Filipino words especially related to religion, government, and daily life arrived Spanish. Iglesia of Church, Misa of Portable, Capitan Paul, Captain. Filipino, surnames first standard during the Spanish era to the Claveria Decree 1849, resulting in widespread adoption of Spanish names like Santos, Reyes, and Cruz. Philippine literature during the period. Nung panahon ng Kastila, malaki ang naging impluwensya sa wika at kultura sa Pilipinas. Maraming salitang Pilipino, lalo na ang mga may kinalaman sa reliyon, gobyerno at pang-araw-araw na buhay, ay nagmula sa Kastila. Halimbawa nito, mga salitang iglesia sa simbahan, tong mesa. Dahil sa pananakop ng mga Kastila, nagkaroon din ng pagbabago sa sistema ng pagsulat sa Pilipinas. Pinalitan nila ang katubong sistema ng pagsulat tulad ng baybayin ng alpabetong Romano, bagamat naging mas madali ang pagbabasa at pagsulat. Nawala rin ang mga tradisyonal na paraan pagsulat ng Pilipino. His novels, No Limit Tangere, El Filibusterismo, exposed the abuse of Spanish authority stems by the fight independence, propaganda movement, reforms like Marcelo H. Del Pilar and Graciano Lopez Jaina induced literature and journalism to advocate for social political reforms, introduction of the Roman alphabet Spaniards, indigenous scripts like baybayin with the Roman alphabet making writing more accessible but diminishing traditional writing system. Bukod kay Rizal, may iba pang mga yung Pilipinong nagsusurat kaniyo, nagpapayag na sa kanilang sa laubin. Hinaing sa pamagitan ng panitikan ng mga propagandistang tulad nila Marcelo H. Del Peral at Graciano Lopez Jaina ay gumamit ng pagsulat at pamamahayag upang ipaglaban ang mga reformang panlipunan at pampolitika. Next. Religion and spirituality. Catholicism began the dominant religion in the Philippines, with its teaching influencing Filipino values, tradition, and identity. Today, the Philippines remain the largest Catholic nation in Asia. Ang Katolismo ang naging pangunahing reliyon digdi sa Pilipinas. Naging dakulang tabang iniyo digdi sa Pilipinas dahil sa impluwensya. Naging tradition man kaniyo ang hanggang ngayon ay Pilipinas ay may pinakamalaking populasyon ng Katoliko sa Asia. Spanish missionaries in the Catholic Church, Spanish missionaries such as the Franciscan, Dominican, Saint Jesuit built churches, school, and convents, establishing the Catholic Church as a central institution in Filipino. They conducted mass conversation, integrated indigenous beliefs into Catholic acceptance. Mga mission mayroong Espanyol tulad ng mga Franciscan, Dominican at ay nagtayo ng mga simbahan, paralan at kumbento sa pamamagitan nito. Naitatag ang simbahang Katoliko bilang mahalagang institusyon sa buhay ng Pilipino. Nagsagawa sila ng malawakang pagpapalit ng reliyon at sinama ang mga katutubong paniniwala sa mga Katolikong ritual upang mapadali ang pagsagap nito. Tradition Filipino Festival, Sinulog, Cebu, honors the Santo Niño, Child Jesus with the dance ritual, Ati-Atihan at Plan, celebrates for the Santo Niño indigenous heritage with vibrant costume and parades. Pahiyas, Quezon, a Thanksgiving festival for a bountiful harvest featuring colorful decoration and sinulog saroon niyo sa pagdiriwang para sa sa Santo Niño algang batang Jesus na may may kaibaning pagbayli hindi sa sa Child Jesus saka sa man sa ati-atihan man iyo man ang itong garo pagdiriwang maninda sa Santo Niño para garo sa itong makukulay na kasuotan para sa mga parada tapos sa pahiyas garo ito yung pasasalamat para sa dakol na anin ninta. That's next. Architecture and urban planning. Spanish colonial architecture churches. The Spaniards built grand churches like San Agustin Church in Intramuros, showcasing Baroque style architecture with intricate design and massive stone structures. These churches then doubled as community centers, fortresses, structures like Fort Santiago in Manila were constructed to protect against invaders and serve as military administrative bases. Government building Spaniards introduced stone-built gabeltos, stone halls, and tribunals reflecting European style. Ang mga Kastila. Pero sinda ang nagdara kini yung mga architecture digdi sa Pilipinas. Sinda ang garo nagibog itong bagang mga simbahan na Dracula araw kayo itong sa San Agustin Intramuros. Yan San Agustin Church. Tapos dawal pa sindantig sa iba-ibang lugar Town layouts with Spanish plaza, Spanish town square centered around the plaza, a public square where the church, town hall, marketplace were located. This layout reflected a centralized system where religion governance were core elements of life. Yung mga Kastila, pero man sinta sa naggarbaga mga plaza, mga town hall na sa tribunal. Itong mga gibo sa mga gapo na may sa Europe. Preserved Spanish architecture San Agustin Church, Manila, UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's the oldest stone church in the Philippines. Bigan Heritage Village, Lucasol. Preserved colonial home and cobblestone street. Display Spanish influence in every Filipino. Sa pagplano ng mga bayan, hanggang ngayon, may mga lugar sa Pilipinas na panatili ang kanilang architecture kolonyal. Ang simbahan ng San Agustin, ang Bigan Heritage Village, ang ilan sa mga halimbawa nito. Ang mga lugar na ito ay nagpapakita ng impluwensya ng mga Kastila sa pamumuhay ng mga Pilipino. Yan na.
Education and social structure. Formal education and university. The Spaniards established the first school and university, including the University of Santo Tomas, 1611, Asia's oldest university. Nung sinakop doon ng Spanish ay, kagaya ng sabi ko kanina, ay tig-introduce sila sa atin yung education. Tapos, gumawa daw ang Spaniard ng university, like the University of Santo Tomas. This is the oldest university in Asia. Education initially focused on religious instruction, but expanded to include Western science, arts, literature over time. Western education, the introduction of formal education and Western concept advanced literacy and intellectual growth among Filipinos. Its families, particularly the Ilustrados, benefits most, gaining access to European ideals that eventually fueled reform movements. Social hierarchy and the mestizo class. The Spanish imposed a rigid social structure with Spaniard and Peninsulares, Spanish-born elites, at the top, followed by mestizos, Filipino, Spanish mixed ancestry, and native Filipinos Indios at the bottom. The mestizo class grew influential, often owning land and businesses, and played a significant role in economic and political affairs. Kagaya nga sabi ko kanina, bilang lang yung nakakapasok sa education nung sinakop tayo ng Spanish. Yung mga elites lang, yung sabi ko kanina, yung mga mayaman lang, kaya tulad ng yung mga Spanish na pinanganak dito sa Pilipinas, yung mga mayaman na Pilipino, mga ganun lang. Next po. Food and daily life. Spanish influence on Filipino cuisine, adobo, a Filipino dish with Spanish roots, combining native cooking techniques and Spanish flavor, vinegar, and soy sauce. Ang adobo pala ay galing sa yung Spanish food siya. In-influence ng Spanish sa Pilipino itong cuisine na to, itong yung dish na to, yung adobo. Meron din tayo dito yung sa lechon, a whole roasted pig inspired by Spanish culinary tradition is a centerpiece of celebration. Ang lechon daw ay kasama rin dito ang lechon, empanada, and blended sista. Political and legal system. Colonial administrative structure and legal system of the Spaniard introduced a centralized government with the Spanish king represented by the Governor General in the Manila. Spanish law, such as the law of Indies, were enforced, shaping the Philippine legal system. Local government rule of the Gobernadorcelo served as the town mayor, managing local administration under Spanish oversight. Cabezas de barangay, village leader, collected taxes and ensured loyalty to Spain. Political impact of Spanish rule of Filipinos were excluded from higher position in government, limiting their political participation. The Filipino elites, ilustrados, educated under Spanish system, later lead reform movements advocating for representation and independence. Sa political and legal system, kaya sabi ko kanina sa governance, nung sinakop tayo ng Spanish ay binago nila yung pamumuno dito sa Pilipinas. Ginawa nila ay binago nila yung law, dinagdag nila binago nila, ginawa nilang Spanish law, at nagkaroon ng mga governor, siguro nga yung ang mayor, yung mga ganon ay galing sa yung Spanish yun, ganon. Ayan lang, thank you.
Biography of a proponent Filipino influenced by Spanish heritage of Dr. Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado Alonso. So his nicknames are Jose P. Rizal, and he was born on June 1861 in Calamba, Laguna. He is renowned as author, statistician, and poet. He studied in Manila at the University of Madrid. He died on April 30, Rizal. Nakaburo Rizal Park. His parents, his father is Francisco Rizal Mercado. Naglo-loading pa ito ko. May ako nangiling. Biography of Graciano Lopez Haina, Voice of the Propaganda, Movement 11. Graciano Lopez Haina, year 1852 to 1896, was a prominent Filipino writer, journalist, and orator who played a crucial role in the Philippine Revolution. So, Graciano Lopez Haina is the one who defends our country from the Spaniards who came us to own the Philippines. So this Philippine Revolution, so si Graciano Lopez Haina, siya yung naging isa sa mga bayani at ang mga kasama niya ay sina Rizal, sina Del Pilar, and also many heroes who defend our country. Early life and education. Year 1856 in Ibajay, Southern Philippines, studied at Colegio de San Jose in Iloilo and later as the Ateneo Municipal de Manila. Demonstrated a keen interest in literature and journalism from a young age. So, siya pala ay nag-aral sa Colegio de San Jose at Ateneo as a journalism. So, kumbaga, doon niya natutunan yung mga nalalaman niya about sa journalism, kung paano i-depict ang ating sariling bayan. So, kumbaga, yan ang ginamit ng instrument para maipakita sa mga Filipinos na kung ano ba talaga yung mga ginagawa ng mga Spaniard sa ating lipunan noong Spaniard colonization. Journalism and advocacy. Founded the satirical newspaper La Solidaridad in Barcelona, Spain in year 1889. So, tayong naging founder ng La Solidaridad. So, as of, many heroes pala. So, ito pa yung parang naging leader to para patakbo yung organization or the newspaper na La Solidaridad. Use the newspaper as a platform to advocate for Philippine independence from Spanish rule. So, siya yung naging isang instrument. His writing exposed the injustice and corruption of the Spanish colonial regime, criticized the Spanish friars' abuse of power and called for reforms in the Philippines. So, kagaya ng kanina yung sinabi ko, dinepects niya yung ating bayan from the Spanish colonization. Propaganda movement. Haina was a key figure in the propaganda movement, a reform movement that aimed to achieve reforms for the Philippines within the Spanish Empire. So, nationalism. Wait, propaganda movement, ito na yung organization na binuo nila. So, parang yung organization na lumalaban sa karapatan nila para sa mga Spanish colonization. His writing helped to foster a sense of Filipino nationalism and unity. Haina was a prolific writer known for his satirical essays, poems, and short stories. His most famous include El Fraile and La Hija del Fraile. So these two poems are the famous artworks of Graciano Lopez Haina in his era. Okay? Legacy. Haina's legacy as a champion of Filipino independence and a voice for social justice continues to inspire Filipino today. So, yung ginawa ni Haina, kumbaga, nagtumatak siya sa mga isipan ng mga Filipinos para magamit natin ngayon para ma-inspire tayo na lumaban at kumbaga matuto. So, he is remembered as one of the most important figures in the fight for Philippine freedom. Several schools, streets, and monuments are named in his honor. So, yung mga yung mga parang mga ginawa nilang monumento at mga ibang pabalan, kumbaga, dinepekto nila kay kina Haina kasi sila yung lumaban sa Spanish colonization. In addition to the above, it's important to remember that Haina writing in speeches were instruments in raising awareness the Philippines situation among the Spanish public and the international community. Although he died in 1896 before the outbreak of the Philippine Revolution. So, namatay po siya before the outbreak of Philippine Revolution. So, yung legacy niya is lagi na lang parang contribution sa propaganda movement bilang isa sa lumaban para i-defend ang ating bansa. Graciano Lopez Haina contributions were essential in shaping the Philippines path toward independence. His journalism, advocacy, and literary works played a crucial role in raising awareness, fostering nationalism, and ultimately paving the way for the revolution. So, yung mga naiambag ng Haina ay kumbaga parang nakip natin at parang ginawa natin para matutunan natin yung mga nagawa niya parang kung paano natin ipagtanggol ating sariling bansa from the mananakop. So, ayun, kumbaga, heroes like them are the most prominent Filipinos who fight for the Spanish colonization. So, yun lang.
So, Manuel Quezon, President of the Philippine Commonwealth and Advocate for Independence. So, in early life and political career of Manuel Quezon, so si Manuel Quezon was born on August 19, 1878 in Baler, Tayabas. So, ngayon tinatawag na siyang Aurora. Then, he studied in San Juan de Letran at University ng Santo Tomas kung saan kumuha siya ng abogasya. So, noong una, yung ginawa niya, lumaban siya sa Rebolusyong Pilipino laban sa mga Espanyol. Ngunit, yung kalaunan ay nakipagtulungan siya sa pamahalaang Amerikano. So, upang maitabuhin niya or maisulong niya yung kanyang reforma, nahalal siya bilang miyembro ng Philippine Assembly noong 1907 at naging Pangulo ng Senado noong 1922. So, siya din ay parang siya yung nanguna sa laban para sa kalayaan ng ating bansa, ng Pilipinas. Na ito na yung nagresulta sa pagiging unang Pangulo ng Commonwealth ng Pilipinas noong 1935. Yun. So, the road to Philippine independence, Quezon tersely advocated for Philippine independence, negotiating with U.S. officials and relying public support for self-governance. His political acumen earned him the trust of both Filipinos and American policymakers. So, dito, si Manuel Quezon, so, kilala siya sa kanyang pagkamasigasig na doon sa kanyang pangangampanya para sa kalayaan ng ating bansa ng Pilipinas. So, nakipag-usap siya sa mga officials of the American at hinikayat niya na suportahan siya mula sa kanyang mamamayan. So, malaki ang naging papel niya sa pagtasa ng Tidings McDuffie Act noong 1934. So, yun, itinakda niya ng 10 taon transition patungo sa kanyang kalayaan sa ating lahat. So, kaya siya naihalal bilang Pangulo ng Commonwealth noong 1935 na that symbolizes na yung hakbang niya sa kanyang ipinaglalaban. So, pinangunahan niya ang pagtatag ng mga institusyong mahalaga para sa isang malayang bansa dito sa ating Pilipinas. So, key achievements as Commonwealth President, Quezon set up a government structure based on the American model with a bicameral legislature, an independent judiciary, and an executive branch. He worked to ensure that system was adaptable to Filipino needs. He addressed social inequalities by introducing policies for land redistribution and tenant right. He also supported the passage of legislation granting women the right to vote, a significant milestone in the Philippines history. So yun, yung sa ginawa ni Manuel Quezon, mas nakilala siya dahil sa kanyang dedication, sa kanyang pag-angat sa ating diwang Pilipino. So yun, nagtugon siya sa mga suliraning panlipunan at kanyang ipinahayag yung, sabi niya dyan, yung katarungan ng panlipunan ay higit sa teorya. Ito isang gawain lamang ng So, ipinaguyod niya talaga yung reforma niya. So, at ipinatatag niya din yung pagdedepensa ng ating bansa laban sa banta ng labas dahil habang pinapalago natin yung economy at system ng education bilang paghahanda sa mga kalayaan ng ating bansa, ng ating mga mamamayan. So, legacy and influence on Philippine governance. Quezon is remembered for his dedication to uplifting the Filipino. So, yun nga, dahil sa kanyang dedikasyon. And addressing social disparities, his famous declaration, yung sinabi niyang social justice is more than a theory. It is a practice. Underscored his commitment to equity and human dignity. So, in the Quezon, vision and policies influenced the trajectory of Philippine politics even after independence in 1946. His emphasis on governance, so social reforms and national defense became pillars for subsequent administrations. So yun talagang itinaguyod niya yung ating Tagalog bilang maging pundasyon, yung parang ito yung hawak natin na ugat or ito yung power natin bilang wikang pambansa natin dito sa Pilipinas upang mas palakasin pa natin yung unity, yung pagkakaisa. So yun, ang kanyang mga policy sa kanyang pamamahala, yung reforma niya sa lipunan at pambansang depensa. Naging siyang batayan ng pamamahala ng administrasyon. So kahit na matapos ang kalayaan noong 1946, ipinaglaban niya ang lahat, yung kanyang pamumuno sa administration. So that's all. Thank you. So si EJ Heroy po, dahil siya naka-upload yan dahil siya nakalaog kasi mayong wifi na may internet, pero yung kanyang contribution of this discussion or yung sa presentation is nag-research siya, nagbigay siya ng research about this. Then yung isa naming kagrupo na si Mark Jem Lavenia is talagang walang paramdam sa GC. So yun lang po. Thank you po. Again, this is the group number 4. So thank you po.